What's going on, everybody? Rob Doster here from the Field of 68. And today we're going to bring you another episode in our NBA Draft Prospect Profile series. These are going to be dropping throughout May and throughout June, a couple a day. So if you do like this content, make sure you subscribe to the channel and do hit that like button. Anything that you can do to interact with these videos, it really does help the channel. It helps more people like you find this content. And since I have you here, make sure you check out our Instagram and TikTok pages. We are going to be pumping out more unique content over there throughout the spring and the summer heading into the 2022-23 college basketball season. Like, for example, did you know that Penny Hardaway was shot when he was in college? I didn't know that. You can find that story right now live on our TikTok and Instagram pages. The links for those are in the description below. So without further ado, let's get into another Field of 68 NBA Draft Prospect Profile. Welcome back to another episode of the Field of 68's 2022 NBA Draft Scouting Reports. My name is Rob Doster. I have Terrence Oglesby with me today, and we are going to be breaking down the game of Wisconsin guard Johnny Davis, who, for my money, was the most improved player in college basketball this past season. As a sophomore, he came in and averaged 19.7 points, 8.2 boards, 2.1 assists. He only shot at about 30% from three, but he went from being a guy that was a bench player and someone that no one really knew about to being the runner-up for National Player of the Year and a guy that might have been able to win it if he did not sprain his ankle late in the season. We are going to get into that. First and foremost, T.O., talk to me about Johnny Davis. How good is this dude?
Well, I love the way he played this year at Wisconsin. If you take Johnny Davis off Wisconsin, you're going to see a completely different basketball team. A basketball team, quite frankly, Rob, that you look at, it's probably an NIT team and probably a first-round exit out of the NIT. That's as big a difference as he makes. And one thing that you kind of alluded to right there is his ability to get so much better. You talk about a most improved player, and then you talked about 30% from three. That's something that I'm not going to worry about. Shot's not broken, can create a little bit on his own, has a pretty long wingspan, and looks like he's going to be able to plug and play immediately. This young man can really score the basketball. He's creative. He's a good off-the-ball cutter when he needs to be. I love the fact that he's been coached. He can defend. You're not going to have to play catch up with him. He's a little bit older. He's had success at a lot of different levels, played on the Olympic team, did a lot of things on that end of the spectrum as well. This young man continues to improve. His first year to second year jump is something that I feel like is something that's very promising for his NBA career, because that tells you he's going to work at it. And then once his confidence has taken off, his game has taken off. So he's somebody I feel like can have a long NBA career.
So let's talk about what he does well first. He's 6'5". He is, I think, the definition of a combo guard. I think he's a little bit more of a ball dominant two than I would say like a pure point guard. I don't know like what he has in his passing range, but the thing that always stood out to me in watching him, T.O., was he's the pace that he plays with, right? He just understands how to get to his spots. He understands the shot that he wants to be able to take. He understands what he does well, and he finds a way to play to that and finds a way to be able to make it happen. He is able to elevate over people when he gets to those spots. I think he's really good in the mid-range, kind of like the mid-range, mid-post, allowing him to kind of use some of that size and some of that physical ability that he has. He just understands what he does well and how to score the ball doing what he does.
And that's where he was most comfortable because of the form on his shot. He elevates over the top, like you said. He gets to his spots. His change of pace is the thing that's really going to translate well to the NBA, because they're playing a lot of ball screen actions. You're continuously in the NBA playing fast or slow to fast, slow to fast, slow to fast. You're changing speeds because everybody at that level is so athletic. If you aren't keeping people off balance, you're not going to get anywhere. So that translates as well. I think this is a young man going forward is somebody that can play right away. Like I said, he's somebody that's going to be able to defend. He's going to spotlight at some point. The only thing that I worry about is he was really reliant on that mid-range long two area. Now at Wisconsin, that works because you're scoring 60 points a game. Without him, they're probably scoring 40 points a game. And it's somebody that I think it's going to take him a year or two to improve his three-point shot. It's going to need to, because 30% is not going to do it in the NBA. But I think because his ability to get to certain spots, I think is going to translate even better. And I think the open floor in the NBA is going to translate even better for him to get all the way to the cup instead of having to settle for some of these the 13 to 17-foot jump shots. He only shot 43% from the field. In the NBA, if he's getting all the way to cup and he's shown that he can finish above the rim, he's going to be able to shoot closer to 50. That's one of the reasons that I like him offensively. Defensively, I think he can guard some different positions. I'm not sure that's going to be a huge issue. I think he's a very good athlete. We talk about AJ Griffin being a fine athlete. I think Johnny Davis is a little bit better. He's going to be able to guard a couple of some smaller, faster players. I like the way that Johnny Davis projects, and the fact that he's only a sophomore. To me, he looked like he was playing like a junior or senior level just from a mental aspect of how he would attack defenses and find his spots. Like you said, Rob, it's somebody that is going to be able to slide into a lineup sooner rather than later.
He was a streaky shooter, right? But my take is that we saw early in the season, we saw the dominant games from him, right? The one that stands out to everybody is the 37 and 14 boards he had at Mackey Arena when they beat up on Purdue. He had 30 against Houston when Houston was at full strength. He was great against St. Mary's. He was great at Michigan State, right? He had some utterly dominant performances this season. We didn't really see many of those down the stretch of the year. Over the course of his final 12 games, he averaged just 17 points. He shot just 42% from the floor, and it was just 22% from three down the stretch of the season. He struggled in Big Ten play. I have a theory on that. He rolled his ankle, right? We remember heard a little bit about the ankle injury that he had, and I think that sapped some of his ability to change directions, some of his ability to create space, and some of his ability to be explosive in and around the basket and to kind of elevate, which is why down the stretch of the year, what you saw was him kind of using his size and his ability to shoot over people as opposed to being able to take advantage of his quickness and his burst. So I think that
after they played Nebraska and he got hurt, only played 11 minutes. After that, he goes 3 of 19 against Michigan State. That's a team that's really athletic. He's trying to have to use his explosiveness, like you say. I just feel like a fully healthy Johnny Davis is going to be a really good player.
Yeah, I agree. So here's my biggest question with him. What position is he playing in the NBA, right? Is he a guy that can be a full-time point guard? Is he a guy that can pass well enough out of pick and rolls to be able to play that role? Is he someone that can shoot it well enough off the catch where you can play him kind of as like a second side creator, right? Like I keep thinking about someone like a Tyrese Halliburton. And what makes Tyrese Halliburton so good and so effective is that he's still kind of someone where you're like, I don't really know if he's a point guard. I don't really know if he's a two, but he can do both of those things really well. He's a great passer and a great catch and shoot guy that is big and versatile defensively. Johnny Davis is not a great catch and shoot guy. He's not great out of ball screens. He's not a great passer. So my question is he someone that's kind of caught in between where he is not going to be a good enough ISO scorer to be able to be a star? Is he just like an energy microwave guy scoring off the bench? Like I'm a little bit concerned about what role he plays at the next level.
I think fit is the biggest thing. And if I'm going to make my comparison right now, I think about when Steve Nash was on the Mavs and when Dirk Nowitzki was young, and they had a two guard there that also went to Wisconsin, who could also finish above the rim, who could also do a lot of things in the mid-range, but wasn't necessarily great at a lot of things. Michael Finley, around the same size, same amount of athleticism. Michael Finley was really, really good. I think he made one or two All-Star games. He was a really good college player or a really good professional player, but it took him a second to kind of figure out what he was going to do. As his career progressed, he became a better three-point shooter because he had to play alongside some of these really good creators with Dirk and Steve Nash. I think that is somebody that you can look at the trajectory of his career, and as he improves his outside shot, he can become a more reliable scorer. Now, all of those things that you just said are valid. He was a score-first guy at Wisconsin. But that being said, if he plays along the right fit or along the right players to get him some of these shots, to get him to attack closeouts, to get him to use some of his strengths, which are that change of pace dribble, then I think he could have some success. But like so many other guys in this draft, it all comes down to fit. But Johnny Davis, with the right fit, could have an NBA career similar to that of Michael Finley.
So I think the best case scenario for him is something of a poor man's Brandon Roy. I think Brandon was a little bit bigger and probably a little bit of a better scorer. And I don't know if Johnny Davis ever gets to that level, but that's kind of the role that I can see him being. I'm a little, to be honest, I'm a little less bullish on him and his fit and what his role is going to be at the NBA, because I want to see, if you're not if you're not the Kevin Durant level, right? If you're not the
Mhm.
superstar Damian Lillard kind of a guy, I think you have to do some very specific things and check some very specific boxes to be able to find a role thriving in the league. Like he'll be able to score. Like there's going to be years where he averages 12, 14, 16 points a game.
That's what
I
I'm
just
saying. If he gets one of those years where it's like set 16 to 19 points a game, he could get that last All-Star spot.
yeah, I don't know if
Maybe
I don't know if
one,
it's-
maybe one, maybe.
I think I could see it. I would not be surprised if he ended up being an all-star. I'm just a little bit worried about the fact that he's not a great passer and he's not a great catch and shoot guy. But look, at the end of the day, if you can get a bucket, you can get a bucket. And if you're good enough at getting a bucket, then NBA teams are going to find a way to get you on the floor. So
That what's the one thing that all these NBA teams feel like they can coach more than anything else? Shooting.
Yeah.
And he's shown that he has good enough hands to make shots because of all those mid-range jumpers he hits. Plus, I think his like you said, after that Nebraska ankle injury, I think his percentages took a sharp dip. Now, I'm not sure you can get the analytics after that, but I feel like it's going to be okay enough to where you don't have to necessarily hide him. And with repetitions, without having to go to class, with doing all these extra workouts, I think his 3-point shot is going to, elevate itself.
Well, Johnny Davis was one of the more entertaining players that we've watched in college basketball over the last couple of years, and it was a thrill to cover him in the college level. Hopefully, it's going to be that much fun for whichever NBA team drafts him. Listen, this has been another edition of the Field of 68's 2022 NBA Draft Prospects. There are breakdowns. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on this channel. Make sure you like this video if you've enjoyed this content. We have plenty of them coming out over the course of the month of May and the month